What's the worst announcement your school ever made? I was in 10th grade when Principal Davis got on the intercom during third period chemistry. His voice sounded different than usual, shaky, like he'd been crying or something. We were in the middle of mixing solutions when that crackling sound came over the speakers. Attention students and staff, please report to the gymnasium immediately for an emergency assembly. Teachers, please escort your classes in an orderly fashion. This is not a drill. We all looked at each other confused. Emergency assemblies never happened at Lincoln High. The last time we had one was when that kid brought a knife to school 3 years ago, and even then they just did a lockdown. Walking to the gym, everyone was whispering theories, maybe another lockdown drill, maybe they caught someone dealing drugs behind the science building. My friend Ashley thought someone famous was coming to visit, but that didn't explain why the principal sounded so upset. The hallways felt different. Teachers weren't telling us to hurry up or keep it down. They looked worried too. Mrs. Cooper kept checking her phone and shaking her head. But when we got to the gym, the entire place was silent. Not the usual chaos of 800 teenagers crammed together on bleachers. Even the seniors who never shut up weren't talking. That's when I knew something was really, really wrong. Principal Davis stood at the microphone looking pale as a ghost. Behind him were 3 police officers in full uniform and our school counselor, Mrs. Williams. She had a box of tissues in her hand and her eyes were completely red from crying. I have some very difficult news to share with you today, he began. His voice cracked on the word difficult and he had to pause for like 10 seconds. Last night, we lost 4 members of our school family in a tragic car accident. The entire gym went dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming overhead. Someone near the back started crying softly, but other than that, nothing. 800 kids and not one sound. Then he read the names, and my whole world collapsed. Brandon Miller, senior, star quarterback who was getting recruited by college scouts. Katie Walsh, junior, honor roll student who organized all the food drives. Her little brother, Tommy, freshman who just started here this year. And their mom, Mrs. Walsh, who worked in our cafeteria and always remembered your name. I felt physically sick. Tommy sat right behind me in algebra class. He was this quiet kid who always brought chocolate milk with lunch and helped other kids with homework. Katie tutored struggling students after school for free, never charged them anything. And Mrs. Walsh always gave you extra fries if you looked hungry, even though she wasn't supposed to. Principal Davis explained they were driving home from Katie's volleyball tournament 2 towns over when a drunk driver ran a red light at 11:30 at night, hit their car head-on, going 60 miles per hour. All 4 members of the Walsh family died instantly. The drunk driver walked away without a single scratch on him. But here's the part that made everything 10 times worse. The drunk driver was Mr. Peterson, our chemistry teacher, the same guy who taught us about reaction times and blood alcohol levels just 2 weeks earlier. The gym absolutely erupted. Kids screaming, crying, some trying to push toward the exits. Teachers rushing down from the stands to calm everyone down. I just sat there in complete shock, remembering how Mr. Peterson always made dad jokes and brought donuts on Fridays. They canceled school for 3 days after that. When we came back, Mr. Peterson's chemistry classroom was locked with yellow tape across the door. Someone had put flowers and teddy bears outside his room, then other people ripped them down and threw them in the parking lot trash cans. The Walsh family's funeral was the biggest our small town had ever seen. Half the school showed up wearing black. I'd never seen so many teenagers in suits and dresses, all crying together. Katie's volleyball team carried her casket while wearing their jerseys. The entire football team was there for Brandon, grown boys sobbing in the front pew. But Tommy's funeral was the worst part. He was only 14 years old. His casket looked so incredibly small next to his mom and sisters. The entire freshman class sat together in one section, most of them crying harder than I'd ever seen kids cry before. Mr. Peterson got 15 years in state prison. During his trial, we found out he'd been drinking at school events for months. Other teachers knew about his problem but never reported it to anyone. Our principal got fired for helping cover it up and not protecting students. They put up a memorial wall in the front hallway with their pictures and a plaque. Every single morning for the rest of high school, I'd walk past those 4 smiling faces and remember that announcement that changed everything.